Okay, hey everybody, I'm Bill Plock, the ride director for Colorado's Ride and the owner of 303 Endurance Publishing. And I am privileged to be here with Dave Hagen and Rick O'Block, sorry. And we're going to talk about all things Durango, San Juan mountains, about cycling. Welcome to our video, if you will, show, and tell us more about yourselves.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Dave Hagen, been in Durango for many, many years. Most recently was the director of the Fort Lewis College cycling team for 18 years, but have been putting on events and just really been in the cycling community here since, the late 80s, if I want to age myself. So.
Yeah, and I'm Rick O'Block. I moved down here in 1976 and was working with Dave on a fundraiser for cycling scholarships at the college. And we established a good relationship, and once he retired, then we decided to sort of start this venture of ours, Petal Durango. So that's sort of my background. I was in hospital administration for 30 years.
Oh, well, tell us real quick, what's Petal Durango all about?
So really, it's a website, petaldurango.com, that really, we hope is the source for all things cycling in Durango. So a bunch of trail systems. We have it organized by trail systems because we have like 6 of them right. You can ride right from your front door to get to. Road rides, gravel rides. We're going to be delving out into the communities around us. They're riding dirt down in Farmington, New Mexico already, and we still have 2 feet of snow on the ground here. So, but then also a resource for community events, social rides, bigger events like the Ironhorse Classic and Colorado's Ride coming up here. Programs, clubs, and teams, and then we have parts for business listings, kind of geared towards the cycling tourists coming to town. Just give them one place where they can go see where they want to stay, where they want to eat, where they want to ride, all that stuff.
Is advocacy
I think the other thing is.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, I was going to just say that the site's dedicated to all level of riders, so it's not just for elite riders or pros, or it's really for everybody. So on all of our listing or all of our rides, we have how difficult each ride is, and so if somebody's reviewing a ride, they can see whether or not it fits into what their skill level is. And so that's really what Petal Durango is.
Yeah, and back to your question, advocacy, we are kind of involved in a committee that's gotten together to help drive, multimodal transportation, but also be keen on, just access to county roads and highways and all that stuff, and trying to get out there and educate ourselves, educate people, get to know some of the local government entities that have all the control of that stuff. So yeah, that's been good.
Cool. Well, sounds like we got the right guys to talk about what our riders coming to Durango in a few months are going to maybe experience, what they should look for. We will talk about a few different things. We can talk about our route, of course, but just maybe a little bit of a history, because you've both been there a long time. Talk about the synergy in Durango, how it became, I think, one of those top cycling hubs in the country. I mean, you've got great road riding history, you've got great mountain biking, now you got gravel. I'm sure you have access to all sorts of terrain within 30 miles. How did that all start to become such a cycling hub?
Boy, I would have to say it was the Ironhorse Bicycle Classic, that really created that cycling scene. I mean, Durango Wheel Club's been around since the 1890s. There's a picture, around town of a bunch of people on their bikes out at Baker's Bridge at the north end of the valley, and it's some old wooden rickety bridge. And but really the Iron Horse, started out as race between two brothers, one on a bike, one in the train going to Silverton.
Really?
Over Bank and Mullis Pass. Yeah.
Huh.
And so that's why there's always, Ironhorse train theme, this, that, the other. And I think the bike rider even won the first one. I think
So, yeah.
they were the Mayer brothers. And then, at the time, Ed Zink owned a bike shop here in town and said, hey, we should turn this into a race. And, it fills up at 2,500 riders for the road race and tour to Silverton every year. And has incorporated mountain bike races, Roos Masters, all sorts of things. And that helped, that organization level helped Durango host 1990 Mountain Bike World Championships, right? The first Mountain Bike World Championships ever. That kicked off an organization called Trails 2000, which started advocating for bike trails in town. Worked with the city, bought up a bunch of open space, built a bunch of trails. There's just always been a great scene, for many years now, cycling scene here in Durango.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that the Ironhorse sort of was the genesis for other programs also. So there's a really great youth cycling program here, Devo, that has about 500 to 600 riders, and they start at 2 to 3 years old, all the way up to a racing team, and that has produced incredible talent for Durango. Howard Grotz, Christopher Blevins,
Sepp
Koos, Quinn Simmons, just to name a few. And and then the college, with the rich history of the college and the cycling team there, and 24 national championships that Dave ran most of those. So it's just been this culture that's evolved over time. But again, it really just sort of started with the Ironhorse and just blossomed. And now, like to think that we're actually the cycling capital of the world here, because we have so much available.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some cities that might argue with you, but I think you guys are you're on the Mount Rushmore of it for sure, no question about it.
Absolutely.
and you feel that vibe. I mean, you got some really great bike shops. You've just got people are on bikes all the time. What do you think our riders are going to feel when they get to Durango from a cycling culture standpoint?
Well, I think the first thing they're going to feel is welcomed, because Durango welcomes all cyclists, regardless of if they're mountain bikes or road rides or e-bikes, or it's a very welcoming community. So that would be the first thing. I think the second thing is the geography and the beauty of the area is something that is second to none, in my opinion. And just the other amenities that are available to cyclists here, the bike shops, restaurants, hotels.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Post-ride activities.
Yeah.
We have a river running through town.
Hot springs.
Mesa Verde National Park's a half an hour away. There's just so many other things to do. The ride on the train, your riders will get to do that. That's kind of a bucket list thing for many people.
Which, by the way, is stunning. I don't know if you've ever done it or not, but it's stunning.
Yeah. And then, just the great roads. I mean, you guys are going on some really cool rides. So, that'll be awesome.
Well, let's shift gears a tiny bit. You've already alluded to it. Let's talk about that ride to Silverton. I have done the Ironhorse Classic. I attempted it once and I did it once. And the reason I attempted it once is I got everybody excited and we got a big group that came down there and I got snowed. And it was one of the few times they actually canceled it. I forget what year that was, but I still rode up.
Yeah, the flakes were that big.
Yeah, it was a massive snowstorm. But I did do it. It's a cool vibe. I think they've changed a little. You used to line up in front of the train and start with the train, but I think they've moved it a little bit. But tell the people watching this your love of that route and why you love it so much.
Oh boy, it's a challenge, right? You roll through the valley in the morning and it's all cool and crisp out. And it's just stunning going through the valley. And then, at the end of the valley, about 12 miles in, it goes uphill, right? And just the initial climb up what we call Shalona Hill, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's starting already. But as you roll up, it warms up, you warm up, and by the time you get to Purgatory, you're ready to go try to take on Coal Bank. And that's a heck of a climb. It takes you up right near Timberline, winds you up, but you always have to save something for Mullis Pass, right? Yep. Because that's a beast. It's a little more wide open. The wind blows. There's some good 8-9% pitches at like 11,000 feet. That make it tough, and then just the descent down into Silverton, especially, is exhilarating.
It's spectacular.
I think the ride is spectacular. I think the ride is different for everybody. And what I mean by that is, for some people, it's a feeling of accomplishment. Something that, like, I know several people that have never ridden bikes before, and they're like, I'm going to do the Iron Horse. So for them, it's a feeling of accomplishment, and a bucket list thing for other people. And then for some, it's an early season test of their fitness level and how they're going to do for the rest of the year. And, we've had several significant names win the Iron Horse over the years as the race part. So, it really is different for everybody, and it's something that, you should just sort of sit back and enjoy as you're going through the journey, because the scenery is simply amazing for sure.
Well, I'll tell you my history of that every time I hear Iron Horse Classic, I have several images, but one that really sticks out in my mind is I'm heading up towards the ski area. It was a crisp morning. There was still snow here and there. And that really big wall of red rock, I don't know what it's called, and there was the aspens growing out of the walls, and they were just slightly green because it was spring then, of course. And the contrasting beauty of that area with the rugged peaks to the distant right, the wall of red to the left, the aspen trees, the evergreens, the river, just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see waterfalls, you're going to see pine, you're going to see aspen, you're going to see tremendous cliffs, spectacular peaks. Twilight Peak is something as you come around near the halfway point down, descending Coal Bank Pass is off to your right. And that's just stunning back there. And the San Juans are probably one of, if not the prettiest area in Colorado. And your riders are going to have a great experience on that ride.
And you'll still see big snow banks on the side of the road. We've had a pretty good winter down here. So there'll still be some snow up there.
Yeah. In August, do you think there'll be snow?
Or no, wait.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. Iron Horse, they will this year for sure.
Oh yeah, Iron Horse.
August,
for sure. Oh, hopefully not, right?
No, August. You're prime time in August.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
And then Silverton is a great place to hang out, and that's got its own magic, in my opinion. I'll never forget, just even a couple months ago when I visited, I rolled down Coal Bank or Mullis into Silverton, and just that valley and the huge 14ers around it. And then I rolled into town, and there was a Christmas tree right in the middle of the street. It was like Whoville, completely live Whoville. It was so cool. I was just waiting for someone to come out and start singing Christmas carols. But anyway, I think
the other thing is, as you're rolling into Silverton, off to the left is the base of Red Mountain Pass. And so you have this beautiful red landscape off to the left that is quite stunning. You'll want to keep your eyes on the road, but you definitely have to check out the red soil of the bottom of Red Mountain Pass.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's talk about day 2 and really kind of maybe combining in a third day a little bit. But, we designed this ride so people could really enjoy Durango and not just have to get up at, 6 a.m. and get out of here. So
Right.
day 3 is a little more casual. It's about 60 miles. It's a loop around Durango. We want people to hopefully get back at a decent time and they can really get to know the city, see some breweries, go to like a Ska or some of the other breweries. But, we're going to go up Florida Road. We're going to head down towards Ignacio a little bit, but then we're going to go west, Wildcat Canyon, and come back into town. Talk about that loop. And I mean, that's a popular loop for cyclists down there, I think, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's a great loop. And you're going to see and experience all sorts of different terrain and geography. Ignacio area is sort of rolly and not mountainous at all, although you have terrific views of the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And the roads are just great. So that part you're really going to enjoy it all, but you'll really enjoy that part because it's so diverse from the rest of the riding that you'll do. I'll let Dave talk about the other part.
Yeah. And then, once you get back down to Ignacio, you guys will cross the highway and come back up on what's known as La Posta Road, which is just, it's a town standard south of town ride. And then when you head up Wildcat Canyon over by Nighthorse Reservoir, you're getting back up into the pines and the trees, and then some real good rollers headed towards Breen, likely to be a headwind.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
But then you'll make that right and get on the highway up to Hesperus, and you'll kind of have a tailwind for going uphill. So you'll enjoy that. And then that's a plummet back down Highway 160 back into town. So cool. No, that's a great ride.
Yeah, and it's a great way to end the ride also.
Right.
So you'll be able to have some good pace coming back into town.
So we did okay, huh? Because I've never ridden.
Yeah.
We kind of eyeballed this. I have ridden a Wildcat Canyon when that year they canceled the Ironhorse. I did my own sort of thing and went down to Wildcat, and it was really beautiful down there. So
yeah.
I mean, going past, you'll be along the river on La Posta Road, which is gorgeous. You might see some bald eagles down there. They sort of hang out down there and fish. Certainly, probably we'll see some wildlife. Some deer, maybe some other wildlife. So that's a great ride. Really awesome. Great ride.
All right. Well, then we'll kind of piggyback on that. Let's switch to our ride to Pagosa. Tell the riders about, okay, so it's going to start out very similar to day 3, but when we get down past the highway, we're going to go east and south towards Navajo Reservoir. And I'm not familiar with that area, and we'll head up towards Chimney Rock. What's that like to ride?
It's rolling bluffs, pinyon pine forest. It's never flat. It's always undulating up and down. And the further south you get, the quieter the roads will get too. Right. Just not a lot going on down there. And then once you make the turn and start going back up towards Chimney Rock, that'll be, up that river valley, and Chimney Rock's a pretty cool thing there on your left as you're going up there. And then, pretty good roll up into Pagosa Springs before you actually drop back down in. Yeah.
That's going to be a great ride.
I one time rode it's all good. I rode this fall. I rode on the south side of Navajo Reservoir from the highway that goes to Farmington. And I rode around the lake a little bit and then up towards where we're going to end up riding just a bit. I have to say, maybe I was just, I don't know, thinking too much, but maybe it's because it's a reservation of Native Americans and you think about a little bit of mystic magic, whatever. And I kind of felt a lot of vibe there that was different. The pinyon, the landscape, the maybe tribal things. I don't know. I just felt something different in that area. Do you guys feel that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's definitely something to that because Chimney Rock is actually one of the locations that they use to communicate with some of the other tribes around the area. And, I think it's, there's some spirituality around there, which creates a whole different environment and atmosphere than some of the other stuff around, for sure.
Good. I wasn't imagining that. So here we are in Pagosa. Might be new to folks. We're going to stay at the hot springs there, which, if people haven't seen it, it's a spectacular facility. If you're camping with us, you get a pass to the hot springs for 2 days, which is pretty cool. And the first day we're in Pagosa, we will ride to the top of Wolf Creek and come back. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, to give people a chance to really soak it up. And, they'll probably be a little tired. That third day is a little bit longer. And then you got a nice climb. But tell us what you think about Pagosa. And I think you have a son that is a chef there. Is that right?
Yeah. No, it's a pretty cool little mountain town. They again have a river going through town, so there's all sorts of those activities. I think the hot springs, you can actually sit in pools that are right down in the river. So that'll be cool. My son is the chef at the Alley House in Pagosa, and probably the best restaurant in the Four Corners area.
It's called what again?
And that's same like it's the Alley House.
Alley House. Okay.
Alley House. And that's saying something, because we have, multitudes of great restaurants here in Durango. So yeah, it'll be a welcoming couple nights there too in Pagosa.
Yeah, I think I was a football official for a long time, and I used to officiate in Pagosa once in a while. That was my favorite place because the scenery was just stunning, when you're out there. And as far as going up Wolf Creek itself, there's a wide shoulder, pretty good grade. It's about a 10-mile climb. But as far as traffic goes, I don't think there should be any problem, just because there's lots of riders that ride from Pagosa up to the top. So one, the drivers are familiar. And also, like I said, there's a wide shoulder. So I think as far as the safety component, that's definitely in favor of the riders that are doing it.
Yeah, exactly. That's our thought too. That's why we picked that for some, both because it's gorgeous. It's one of the best passes in the state, I think, in terms of scenery. Yeah. Coming back, the views down that valley are just, it's too bad we're going down. We can't enjoy them as long as we'd like, but it's a stunning views up there. Unbelievable.
There is a beautiful overlook. There is a beautiful overlook on your way down that, if people aren't under pressure, they should stop and just take in the scenery of that valley for 5 or 10 minutes, get off their bike, and it's actually a pull-off parking lot that they can go into. It's just stunning
at the big switchback.
Yeah.
So yeah,
maybe we'll put a beer tap there. That'll entice them to stop. Right.
There you go.
Yeah, make sure you pull off into the the viewing area parking lot, because that turn's pretty notorious.
Yeah.
So for big trucks, there's I think a truckload of cabbage still sitting downhill from there.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to wrap this up in a little bit. So we'll ride back to Durango, which will be a little bit different than the ride to Pagosa, but we'll head towards Bayfield. Yeah. We'll come back over Florida. So they'll see Florida 3 times on this route, which is a beautiful road. And there's some really gorgeous homes, and it's just a pastoral almost. It feels like you're in the rolling hills of a farm community, really. But let's talk about, just to wrap up, not thinking a route, but maybe when folks get done with the ride, what are some things in Durango they really should do, especially if they want to stay an extra day or two?
Well, I would say the first thing is, we also have some hot springs here. So Durango Hot Springs is a location that they can enjoy, but there's a multitude of restaurants here that and breweries. So if they want to enjoy some beer after their hard rides, or relax by the hot springs, or enjoy some of the fine dining, or just go down to the river and enjoy the river, hang out by the river. There's benches all along the river and the bike path. That's also an option.
And like I said before, Mesa Verde, bring your mountain bike. Definitely bring your mountain bike so you can maybe get out on the trails, after you're done with the tour, if you're up for it.
Yeah. How about some gravel riding? I mean, people might even use their gravel bike for this entire trip.
Yeah, no, great gravel riding, and we have some good ones right on our website. So
let's talk about your website too, real quick. So when folks are watching this, they want to learn more. It's obviously petaldurango.com, correct? Or is it .org? I can't remember.
Yep.
.com.
And on that site, you guys have some really awesome resources: shops, restaurants, trails, road rides, everything, right?
Yeah, gravel rides, post-ride activities, local bike-related businesses that put out, kind of small-time but very cool bike-related products. King Cages here in town makes titanium water bottle cages.
Oh,
and also Bedrock Bags is here in town. They make a lot of the bike packing bags and those sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, I really think that anybody that's coming, certainly the Colorado's ride participants, can use it as a resource because it really has everything on there. And we tried to make it as diverse as possible. So there's different levels of places to stay or different levels of places to eat. Certainly all of the rides are marked with how strenuous it is or how difficult it is, the distance, the elevation gains, all of those kinds of things. So I think it's a good resource. And if anybody needs medical attention, you never know, that's also on the website that they could reference.
Right. Cool. Well, we're excited to be there. I have this really weird feeling I'm going to want to move there after coming down to couple more times and then doing our ride. I love it down there. Wish it was a little bit closer for us, but it's life. But there's an airport for those watching. It's got good service. So there's that option too. And you can ship your bike to Second Avenue Sports and they'll build it for you. That's part of the deal too. So we're trying to incorporate, one of the things we really are trying to do is get engaged with your community down there on a more daily basis and be part of it.
Yeah.
So
good. Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah, you'll definitely want to move down here.
I already do, maybe. So yeah. Don't tell my daughter that. She's not going to be happy if I say that. But anyway.
Right.
Well, hey gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure. We'll look forward to seeing you. We'll be down in April, so perhaps we can have a cup of coffee or a beer or something and maybe do another recording of something else.
That'd be excellent. Sounds good.
Thank you so much.